Elon Musk was just named Time Magazine Person of the Year because, among other things, he's the richest man on the planet. Well, if you count Theranos-style valuations as real cash anyway. Theranos, just so you know, was a scam.
I remember reading an email from the father of a little girl. He talked about taking her to the hospital and watching as they stuck her soft tissue again and again in the search for what he called the tiny, invisible vein.
Yeah, and I should probably caution you at this point that just because someone is saying something that sounds good doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be true.
I remember watching elderly people whose veins collapse as they age, having to get blood drawn from their hand, which can cause so much suffering.
After all, if you want to sell someone magic beans, you've got to convince them that the beans are very magical.
What she could figure out was that it would likely cost her a few $1,000s to get these tests done. I'll remember all my life the face of a pregnant woman who showed up at one of our locations, and she'd been turned away from the other places she'd gone because she couldn't afford. When she saw the cost of her tests would be little more than the cost of a meal, the gratitude on her face struck my heart.
It's so philanthropic to have someone so dedicated to saving mankind like this, especially such an eccentric genius billionaire.
We've made it possible to run comprehensive laboratory tests from a tiny sample or a few drops of blood that could be taken from a finger. And we've made it possible to eliminate the tubes and tubes of blood that traditionally have to be drawn from an arm and replaced it with the nanotainer.
Using their machine called the Edison, named after the famous inventor Thomas Edison. And their company at its peak was worth some $9 billion.
The company that she started at 19 is valued at $9 billion. You own over 50% of it, right? Congratulations on that.
Based on the optimistic timelines. Elizabeth time, as they called it.
This is what happens when you work to change things, and first they think you're crazy, then they fight you, and then all of a sudden you change the world.
And then went to being worth $0.
Forbes magazine has downgraded the net worth of Elizabeth Holmes from $4.5 billion to nothing.
Because it turns out optimistic timelines are very good for inflating valuations, not so good for turning a profit. Now, of course, Elizabeth Holmes, the founder of Theranos, is on trial for fraud. But one of the things that counts most in her defense here is that she didn't profit off Theranos. That is, when the company was fully pumped up on the hype, she didn't sell shares and make a profit out of the fraud. Not quite as true with Trevor Milton, the founder of Nikola, named after the famous inventor Nikola Tesla. They too had optimistic timelines about making hydrogen-powered trucks with batteries that were next generation.
Nikola forming a strategic partnership with General Motors this morning. Nikola Badger will be engineered and manufactured by GM.
Amazing tech that would blow Tesla away.
For those who bravely stand at the crossroads of innovation and enterprise. For those who are prepared to give our children a moral compass and not just a roadmap.
It's so touching to have an eccentric tech stock billionaire so dedicated to saving mankind like this.
For those who wish to leave the planet better than it was when we found it.
And for a while, these optimistic timelines made Nikola, a trucking company who at that point hadn't actually made a working truck, more valuable than any truck manufacturer in America.
For those who dare to reinvent. For those who dare to reimagine.
He Hindenburg Research put out a report yesterday accusing Nikola of being an intricate fraud.
And the hits have just kept on coming.
Trevor Milton, the founder of electric truck company Nikola, is voluntarily stepping down as executive chairman and giving up his board seat.
With the SEC and the DOJ now both reportedly looking into Nikola, and the company's deal with GM uncertain, what does the future hold for the one-time Wall Street darling?
Good. So we got a lot of common features of these scammionaires, that they're based on names of famous inventors, they're eccentric tech stock billionaires, they claim to save the planet, and they make wild claims and they deliver tokens. But there's no way you could claim that's true of Elon Musk. I mean, sure, his company Tesla is named after Nikola Tesla, that's the same famous inventor that Nikola was named after. And sure, just like Elizabeth Holmes and Trevor Milton, Elon Musk is an eccentric tech stock billionaire who claims to save the planet. But there's no way you can compare the wild claims and delivering tokens of Nikola to Tesla, right? Or is there?
The convoy technology, the tracking technology, this is something that we are confident we can do today 10 times safer than a human driver. So I want to be clear, this is something we can do now.
And today on Vaporware Challenge, we have the Nikola One, unveiled 2nd of December 2016, promised production by 2020, versus the Tesla Semi, revealed about a year later in December 2017, promised delivery date 2019. Who will claim the title of Peak Vaporware? And just so we're clear that both of these products qualify for Vaporware Challenge, it's now nearly 2022, and there is no sign that either of these amazing new revolutionary electric trucks that will completely change the way that we think about trucking exist. None. Let's see if we can materially distinguish between Trevor Milton, the guy on trial for fraud, and Elon Musk's presentation, made about a year later.
Welcome to the Tesla Semi truck event. I hope you like what you see.
You will have a chain on the seats to prevent people from coming in just for the safety. I don't want someone to end up doing something and driving this truck off the stage. But this thing fully functions and works, which is really incredible.
Yes, that is truly incredible, given that later reports would say,
According to a report published by Bloomberg earlier this year, the truck that Nikola showed off to the crowd in December of 2016 was not only inoperable, but it also lacked components, including gears, motors, and the hydrogen fuel cell to power the vehicle.
I don't want someone to end up doing something and driving this truck off the stage.
I'm going to tell you about everything that this truck can do. It blows my mind. I think it'll blow yours.
And Tesla's Vaporware opens strong with another presentation that will blow your mind.
It blows my mind. I think it'll blow yours.
ETA and destinations of all of our stations and reroute them. I mean, it's a full smart computer. It's pretty incredible.
And it'll seamlessly integrate with all the fleet systems, the things that are really important.
So will this system be installed in all of the trucks that should be coming online in 2020?
Every one of them.
Everyone. So
Todd made the bold claim that Fallout 4 just worked.
All of this just works. It works. It actually works perfectly.
Everything just works. The moment you get the truck, it's got everything.
Yeah, that's right. The moment you get the truck, which will be in 2 years' time and has been for several years.
That's 1,000 horsepower is double what any other production truck, for the most part, is running on the road.
Starting with performance. So we have an acronym we came up with. We want a vehicle that feels incredible, that accelerates like nothing else.
No
That's
way.
what's so cool, yeah.
So that'll propel this thing from 0 to 60 in like 30 seconds, right?
Under full load.
On the left, the thing that looks like it's not moving is a diesel truck. Just gonna give it a moment. What it's like to be in a Tesla truck. This is real time. Okay.
Boom! And Elon Musk knocks the Vaporware ball right out of the arena with one of the lamest PowerPoint presentations ever, with the idiotic crowd cheering like idiots, and not one of them thinking, why are we looking at this dumb presentation? Isn't that thing sat behind him meant to be an actual working truck? Why didn't they just show us it working? Oh yeah, that's right, they'll show us it working in 2 years.
The same will be true of the Tesla Semi. You'll be able to travel anywhere in the world on the Tesla Megacharger network.
They're going to be able to go to the Nikola fuel stations, hydrogen stations.
Yeah, we'll have 364 of these stations going up around the country, both in the USA and Canada, and any hydrogen vehicle can fill there.
5 years later, there are no hydrogen fuel stations available to the public. Boom, vaporware.
And that means we can guarantee the electricity rates, because these will be solar-powered megachargers that charge to a Tesla power pack. It's 24/7, guaranteed low electricity.
And guaranteed to exist in another 2 years, because as of this year, there are no Tesla megachargers available to the public, let alone solar-powered ones.
For too long, we've asked the movers who make our dreams possible to depend on outdated technology. Technology that compromises the planet we work so tirelessly toward perfecting.
If you're fueling a diesel truck, you've got fumes, spills, toxic environment.
For too long, we've asked them to sacrifice their health and their safety so we can have better access to the things that give our lives meaning.
Every truck we sell will have enhanced autopilot as standard. Okay.
And here we are, 5 years on, and while Tesla does have a product called Autopilot, it doesn't have a product that functions as autopilot. Indeed, in Germany, where Tesla advertised autopilot as autopilot, the German courts ruled that this was misleading people into thinking that Tesla autopilot was actually capable of piloting the vehicle, rather than just some sort of glorified cruise control. And therefore, they banned Tesla from calling it autopilot. And in the 5 or so years since this presentation, Elon Musk's genius has transformed autopilot into Tesla full self-driving that comes with the release note. Autopilot and full self-driving capabilities are intended for use with a fully attentive driver who has their hands on the wheel and is prepared to take over at any moment. You know, full self-driving. While these features are designed to become more capable over time, like in maybe 2 or so years, current enabled features do not make the vehicle autonomous. Like we said, full self-driving. And we at Tesla are keen not to do anything that would artificially inflate our stock price, like putting a demonstration on our website that violates all of the safety rules associated with autopilot, like putting up a video saying the person in the driver's seat is only there for legal reasons. He is not doing anything. The car is driving itself, and I'm sure his hands will be on the wheel the whole time. Yeah, right. That's the way to gamble with other people's lives, with a system that, according to Tesla themselves, might do the wrong thing at the worst time. Hey, here's a good idea. Why don't we put that on a truck?
This is a massive increase in safety.
If there was people out there that could have done this, they would have done it. Peterbilt, these other brands, you look at Daimler, Volvo, no one's ever done this. They said it's impossible.
Now, a Tesla truck considered by itself beats other diesel trucks.
We're really an energy technology company. We're now cheaper to drive than a diesel is per mile, and we make 5 times the revenue of our competitors.
What this means is it's not just economic suicide to use one diesel truck, it's economic suicide for rail. This beats rail.
Ooh, I love the smell of fresh vaporware. Well, 2017 vaporware anyway.
The convoy technology, the tracking technology, this is something that we are confident we can do today 10 times safer than a human driver. So I want to be clear, this is something we can do now.
Now that is a masterclass in how to lie without even the slightest hint of remorse.
So, and that's I think really quite profound. We're confident that this is a product that is better in every way from a feature standpoint, that wins on economics against diesel trucks in a worst case scenario, and that defeats rail in a convoy scenario.
So you have had a lot of attention on this. You said last night 4 billion people, or $4 billion.
Yeah.
So
we just passed $4 billion.
Is that for your leases? Because your lease is $1,500.
And production begins 2019. So if you order now, get the truck in 2 years. All right.
Okay, so nothing you heard there was actually delivered on, which is pretty impressive, since Elon Musk promised a statement of fact that if you ordered the truck now, which was in 2017, you would get the truck by 2019.
And production begins 2019. So if you order now, get the truck in 2 years. All right.
And it's now about 3 years after 2019. And there's still no sign of any of this. There's no super acceleration, there's no mega chargers, and in any event, most of this was absolutely pointless. Electric motors provide very good acceleration, but that's not actually very important for the trucking industry. The bottom line is that battery-powered vehicles are supremely poorly suited for long-distance transport, because the batteries are big and heavy, and that displaces cargo, and also they take a long time to charge. Now, Milton, of course, did cash out the best part of $1 billion from this company based on these optimistic timelines, which is why he's now under investigation for securities fraud. Now, with all of these companies, there is no sensible way to justify their valuation. There's lots of slick promises in that Theranos did actually do blood tests. They had multi-million-dollar buildings and research facilities, but they mostly just ended up delivering standard blood tests, and none of the unicorn technology that was promised was ever delivered on. Tesla currently makes about 2% of the cars in America as a luxury brand that will never make it into the mass market. So why is Tesla worth about as much as all of the other automakers in America put together? Well, you might argue that Tesla is an amazing breakthrough energy company with revolutionary new solar and battery divisions. Well, not really. There is absolutely nothing special about their solar panels, and their batteries are made by Panasonic. In this sense, Tesla isn't so much a revolutionary new energy company.
We're really an energy technology company.
It's a battery and solar installation company. There is nothing there to justify this sort of valuation. In fact, if you give Tesla a valuation more on a par with a typical automaker, a realistic valuation, then you're looking at Tesla's value dropping by 1 to 2 orders of magnitude. And seeing as most of Elon Musk's wealth is actually in Tesla stock, you would also be looking at his wealth dropping by 1 to 2 orders of magnitude. Well, at least he didn't do like Milton and cash out loads of his stock based on this massively inflated stock value pumped up by empty promises. Optimistic timelines. Oh. You know, things like this,
but this thing fully functions and works, which is really incredible,
are really no different than things like this.
We can do today 10 times safer than a human driver. So I want to be clear, this is something we can do now.
But before we get into that, let's take a look at the other amazing companies that Time magazine had associated with Elon Musk. Well, let's do it historically, starting with Zip2, which was certainly Musk. It was basically the Yellow Pages online, and it was purchased at the height of the dot-com bubble by Compaq, which made Elon Musk a pretty penny, and the dot-com bubble burst shortly afterwards. So the only reason Elon Musk made a load of money out of this is because people were spending money like crazy in the dot-com boom. PayPal? What? Seriously? PayPal? Elon Musk never actually worked at a company called PayPal. he started a company called X.com, which is not a porn website, but an email payment company. And within a year or so, the investors saw Elon Musk as inexperienced and replaced him. Meanwhile, PayPal was a product of a company called Confinity, and at the time they were more popular than X.com, and so the companies merged. Now, in short order, Elon Musk first ousted the CEO of PayPal, only for the board, because of Elon Musk's lack of technological issues and cohesive business model, to oust Musk and replace him with the original CEO of PayPal. The company later changed its name from Confinity to PayPal. And while Musk had been fired before this, he kept his shares, which later, after those who fired him made the company worth over $1 billion, he cashed out his shares and instantly became a multimillionaire. So what was the tech genius's role in PayPal? Well, let's see, he got fired and someone else made the company worth a lot of money. Let's do the boring company next. They promised to make hyperloops, and years later, nothing. They promised high-speed underground networks.
You could soon hitch a ride in Elon Musk's first traffic tunnel. He unveiled this video showing platforms. Yeah, it is awesome.
It is.
They act like elevators and they carry pods to an underground series of tunnels. Those pods could carry 8 to 16 passengers or a single passenger vehicle at speeds of more than 120 miles per hour. And the pedestrians and cyclists, well, they would get first priority.
That is great.
I mean, you can think of these like wormholes. Like, oh, I need to get to the other side of LA or New York or whatever, drop down the wormhole, pop out the other side.
And years later, rather than having automated pods driving people around, they have slow-moving cars driving in tunnels.
I've sold monorails to Brockway, Ogdenville, and North Haverbrook, and by gum, it put them on the map.
It's a joke on every conceivable level.
Has anybody brushed a wall yet?
Yeah, there've been a couple people that have.
Well, good. Knock on wood, right? It just seems so close. It's kind of crazy.
Although now the drivers have been banned from discussing crashes and must tell passengers how awesome, supportive, and inspiring Elon Musk is. Neuralink promised telepathy and delivered pigs grunting. It's all stuff that had been done years before by real bioimplant companies. SolarCity is where it gets really scammy. The timelines become outrageously optimistic. For this, we're going to take a look at the words of Elon Musk under oath. And, just to see how much we should trust Elon Musk when he says he can do something now. And I really can't thank the common sense skeptic enough for doing this series of Musk on trial. You see, Tesla bought SolarCity, and Musk, being part of both of them, had to legally recuse himself from the purchase. The only thing was, he didn't really. You see, SpaceX had propped up SolarCity by buying bonds in the company. Bonds purchased with money given to SpaceX by the US government. Problem was, if SolarCity went bust, then those bonds would be worth nothing, and SpaceX would go down too. And SolarCity was just about to go broke. SolarCity was a solar installation company, a solar rental company, that sort of thing. And financially, they were on their last legs. By making Tesla buy SolarCity, mostly with Tesla stockholders' money, his shares in SolarCity would suddenly go from being worth basically nothing to whatever the Tesla shareholders would pay for them.
They decided to move up this product launch to early November, putting it just before the scheduled shareholder vote. This communication from Musk also states, in Musk's own words, latest feedback from major investors is very negative on SolarCity. We need to show them what an integrated product looks like.
And this is one of the reasons why he was meant to legally recuse himself from the whole process, but instead went full out to try and convince the Tesla shareholders that they should buy a company for $3 billion that was just about to go broke. And that's why Elon Musk was on trial. And it's where we learned all the juicy bits, like SolarCity had consistently failed to turn a profit, had some $3 billion worth of debt, and didn't have enough cash to meet its obligations. Come on, think, Elon, think. If SolarCity goes down, it takes SpaceX's cash with it, and all the shares that I have in SolarCity will be worthless. Come on, think. What's the best way to part suckers from their money? I mean, surely they won't fall for vaporware again.
The houses you see around you are all solar houses. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you, did you notice?
Quoting Barron directly, and what you did then is a series of things. You first presented that product at the back lot of Desperate Housewives. You put a bunch of tiles that look like solar roofs on the top of the houses in order to show people what the roof would look like, correct? Those were not working models or roof. Those were just mock-ups, correct?
So we're going to show you, this is the before shot of that house over there. Now that's all solar.
But they were not working models. They were just models. They were not working models. They were still in the idea phase, as you just said. To which Musk replies, they're for demonstration of the aesthetics, which was the primary thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I mislead you into thinking these were actually solar roofs?
The houses you see around you are all solar houses. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you, did you notice?
We've made it possible to run comprehensive laboratory tests from a tiny sample or a few drops of blood that could be taken from a finger.
So I want to be clear, this is something we can do now.
This isn't just a pusher like a lot of vehicles that they unveil are just vehicles that don't actually function. There's a fully functioning vehicle, which is really incredible.
So that house is also solar, and that's a sort of a style of a French slate, which is one of the hardest things to do. It's what the French slate hydrographic looks like. The third house is really transformative. From the vantage point of the street, it looks completely opaque, but as the angle changes, it goes from transparent to opaque. Most surprising one is the Tuscan glass. All of the dark tiles have solar panels.
So here we are, about 5 years after Elon Musk told the Tesla shareholders that they expected to be doing solar roofs in volume in 2017.
Transcription of a shareholders meeting held 2 weeks after this presentation, where Musk stated, "We expect to start doing solar roofs in volume somewhere near next year." Again, Barron calls this statement what it was, flat out false. There is no way with an idea that is in existence in the third quarter of 2016 that you would be starting doing solar roofs in volume by 2017.
5 years after it was going to be everywhere. And it's a trickle at best. The vaporware promise that it was going to be cheaper and better, well.
That is better than a normal roof. That looks better.
We're confident that this is a product that is better in every way from a feature standpoint.
Lasts longer, has better insulating effect.
That wins on economics against diesel trucks in a worst case scenario.
And where the cost of roof plus electricity is less than that of a normal roof.
And that defeats rail in a convoy scenario.
It's really not that complicated.
And production begins 2019. So if you order now, you get the truck in 2 years. All right.
And the only thing that we know about the new solar roof that they're trying to install is that it's much more expensive than a regular roof plus solar panels. It's only available in one color, and it looks nothing like the roof tiles that Elon Musk was demonstrating. And now it's apparently made in China, making Tesla just an installation company, who, by the way, has one of the worst reputations as a solar installer. Now, sure, Tesla make luxury cars that constitute just under 3% of the cars sold in America. But then again, there's nothing special there. Hell, they don't even make their own batteries. Come on, think Elon, think. There has to be a way to make this worth more than all the car makers in America put together. The vaporware. Way back in 2016, Tesla drives itself, no human input at all, through urban streets to highway to street, then finds a parking spot. When you want your car to return, tap summon on your phone. It'll eventually find you even if you're on the other side of the country. That is, the car will drive and charge itself from one side of the country to the other. But hey, that's nothing to how far Elon Musk can go with this. I know, let's promise that it's financially insane to buy anything other than a Tesla.
Yeah. I mean, the fundamental message that consumers should be taking
today is that it's financially insane to buy anything other than a Tesla. It'll be like owning a horse in 3 years.
By 2020, you will put a switch in a Tesla that instantly turns it into a robo-taxi.
The product line with Model Y and Semi, and we expect to have the first operating robo-taxis next year, with no one in them, next year. We'll do Model 3, S3 and X as taxis, but...
Where he was going to sell you, 2 years ago I should note, a Tesla for some $30,000 where you could just flip a switch and it would instantly generate some $30,000 profit for you per year as a robo-taxi.
If you say, what would be the probable gross profit from a single robo-taxi? We think probably something on the order of $30,000 per year. The fundamental message that consumers should be taking today is that it's financially insane to buy anything other than a Tesla.
Yeah, that's so clearly bullshit on every conceivable level. I mean, what they're basically claiming is they've invented a golden goose that creates $30,000 per year, and they're going to sell them to you. Whereas any real company that had invented a money printing machine like this would just keep them as money printing machines themselves. Why should they sell you their robo-taxis that just generate free cash? Yeah, once a used car salesman, always a used car salesman. Meanwhile, the best that they have in late 2021 is glorified cruise control. But apparently, they had full self-driving in 2019. Although you have to wonder if this was kind of the solar shingle demo all over again. You know, a mock-up of this is what self-driving would look like if it actually worked. Else, you know, you have this kind of incongruity that they had level 5 full self-driving in early 2019. But in late 2021, the release notes for their full self-driving say you have to be fully attentive and have your hands on the steering wheel at all times. You know, kind of like driving a car, really. So SpaceX is the only one left. SpaceX was famously bailed out when it was facing bankruptcy in 2008. And yeah, I think bailed out is about right, giving $1.6 billion to a company with a launch record, well, as Musk described it, all.
But I remember waking up on the Sunday before Christmas in 2008 and thinking, like, damn, it was looking pretty grim. Because at that point, you know, we, even though the fourth launch of SpaceX had succeeded, we were still running out of money because we had three failures and only one success. Yeah. Still not enough.
Naturally, you would expect a company that's been bailed out by the government to see the value in such things, right? Well, not quite. Turns out hypocrisy is something that Elon Musk does very well.
All right.
I'm literally saying get rid of all subsidies. You know? But I think just generally, I'm in favor of deleting subsidies. So, you know, I would just say just delete them all.
All right, but there's some other good things in this bill that some would argue. I mean, a lot of money earmarked for R&D. Would you want to put that towards something?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's always difficult to tell whether a company is doing well or not because all of the space market is massively government subsidized, with SpaceX being no exception. The flip side is, of course, the launch market is pretty much a fixed size. Even if you could do it a lot cheaper, that just means there's less profit to be made there. But even factoring this in, no one seems to think that the money bailing SpaceX out or that went into the Falcon 9 development was a waste of money. It's a perfectly respectable launch vehicle. Enter Starlink. Elon Musk wants to launch tens of thousands of satellites on a network that will only last about 5 years and have to be replaced, and use those to give rich people with a $500 satellite dish and the 100-watt power supply needed to keep it running, and you could simply eyeball the numbers and show this could never work out. And this does seem to be confirmed by Elon Musk's most recent and panicky email that unless they can fly Starship twice a month next year, SpaceX faces bankruptcy. The bottom line is you have to put a massive amount of capital in to get this system working. And until then, you're losing cash like crazy. And until then, Musk is pumping satellites up there at the rate of 40,000 every 4 or so years. Don't even think about this space junk. Basically, if Musk can't put the satellites into orbit using the Falcon 9, and he needs this thing to be rapidly reusable, something that SpaceX has never actually achieved.
And so looking forward, reusability, we don't believe it really counts unless you can turn it around as rapidly or almost as rapidly as you turn around an aircraft. Basically you land the system, you land the stage, you do some brief but important critical checks and inspections, you refuel and you re-go. So our challenge right now is to refly a rocket within 24 hours. So that's when we'll really feel like we got the reusability piece right.
Awesome.
And of course, Vaporware Man was out there promising that they would have a relaunch within 24 hours using the same booster, no later than next year. It will, of course, surprise precisely no one at this point that that goal wasn't met. Indeed, it's never been met. The fastest reuse of one of their Falcon 9 boosters is about a month, only somewhat faster than the fastest reflight of the shuttle. And that was after about a decade of trying. Now, according to this leaked email by Elon Musk, unless they're flying Starship, a rocket that they've not even got off the ground yet, twice per month next year, they face bankruptcy. Yeah, if that's right, they're going bankrupt. Now, about 5 years ago, I expressed skepticism that the Falcon 9 would ever achieve this rapid reusability and the cost saving that SpaceX promised. And despite being correct on everything that I was skeptical about, and for those who don't know, SpaceX was forecasting, if reusability worked out, it would be launches would be in the $5 to $7 million range.
So excited to sell the operators here a launch vehicle where really the only cost associated with that vehicle, the non-recurring, the initial investment in the stages themselves, but the cost of fuel and the mission operations. So if we get this right, and we're trying really hard to get this right, we're looking at launches to be in the $5 to $7 million range.
Cool. So if reusability works out, launches will be in the $5 to $7 million range, and if it doesn't, then they'll be the same as the non-reusable rockets in the $50 to $60 million range. And launches are currently $50 to $60 million. And despite being correct about everything, Musk fans to this day insist that I was wrong there, leading of course to the obvious observation that it's easier to con someone than to convince them they've been conned. All I can say is enjoy your rapidly reusable rockets powered by solar roofs and a revolutionary new truck that accelerates faster than the rockets, all powered by Tesla's full hyper self-driving loop system, which will be totally functional in, 2 years. Yes, I feel extremely confident it'll be ready in 2 years. Maybe 3. Oh, and he really is worth $330 billion. Oh, sorry, that was a month ago. Now that the Tesla stock has dropped by some 30%, his wealth has dropped by about $100 billion. That is, Elon Musk might as well have been Man of the Year in that he lost $100 billion in wealth in just over a month. Something that no other human on the planet has ever achieved. And you know what? I suspect there's a lot more where that came from. Remember how I opened this video.
This is what happens when you work to change things. And first they think you're crazy, then they fight you, and then all of a sudden you change the world.
Hype is very good for inflating the price of your company. Not so good for turning a profit. And hey, if it doesn't all work out, you can still just become a social media influencer. And that's today's video. Many thanks to all of those who pushed this channel over the 1 million subscriber threshold, and in especially many thanks to all those who have supported this channel over the years on Patreon. And hell, even a thanks to my colleagues for getting me this cake. And please do share this video with all the Elon Musk fans out there, because damn straight the number of videos praising Elon Musk as some demigod techno messiah is knee-weakening. It's not for nothing that people associate Musk fans with cult-like behavior. And let's hope that the absolutely indistinguishable twin vaporware truck presentations of Nikola and Tesla are followed by them delivering absolutely nothing will help at least one or two of them see the light. And as ever, many thanks for watching.